Hello YouTube fans, here again. And I thought I'd talk about this one, also by an actor I was talking about the other day, that being the late Burt Reynolds, may he rest. This was one what was going to win him an award, I remember right, the movie award back in 1997, that being Boogie Night. That's right, Boogie Night. Now at the time, Burt Reynolds' older age did not like this film, didn't like it, and I don't know why. I think because at the time it's all to do with porn. That's right, not even things, people. Porn not affair. Now it's based on porn in the 70s and the 80s, the seedy world of porn not affair. And it's about a young lad called Dickless, which is basically, he's sort of like, if I get it right, he's sort of like a Bruce Lee fan. Big fan of Bruce Lee and everything. And remember that it's more based on a real porn star who, sadly to say, in the 80s died very notorious. But this is more or less made up. And you could say it's sort of like a male version of Tracy Lloyd. Now, if anyone does not know who Tracy Lloyd is, he was a well-known porn star in the early 80s to the late 80s. A lot of lads really fancied the arse of Tracy Lloyd, but it had a down seedy history. That's he faked her ID. Say it again. Even though Stacey Lloyd, you know, she was the long dude that faked her ID, pretended to be 18 and over to get in the world of porn, and it turns out she wasn't. She was sweet 16. She was underage. But by the time they figured that out, it's a little too late. But this is all like a male version of that, only, as I said, a male version. So it starts off with his lad's in an abusive family. His mum treats him like shit. He has a dead end job, and Burt Reynolds gets a likeness of him. I don't mean in that naughty way. And you get ideas of porn director, and he gets him into pornography. And we all know he's underage. This is the one where you get a girl called the State Girl. Beautiful actress, well known for starring in films, whether it be Lost in Space and a lot of other films over the years. This would have been her big break. And all fair said and done, she's definitely not shy in this film. There's a lot of nudity in it, a lot of bonking in it. And if I'm not mistaken, it does actually have a porn star in the film, a real adult star, believe it or not. There's been a lot of hardcore porn. Actually appears in this, playing a role of a slutty wife who doesn't like sleeping around in the film. So, like I say, it gets him into porn, not affair. You do get a very long Rebecca Moore. That's just I've been talking about. Again, a little bit of bonking, but not too much. A little bit of bonking here and there, a bit of nudity. But I get it, I get it. It's about porn. The reason why Burt Reynolds never liked the film and he didn't want awards and he was just saying it because it's all to do with pornography. But I didn't really buy into it as just being porn. Basically, it was about how pornography can ruin your life. At first, it's a lad's dream, you know what I mean? He gets to bonk all these beautiful women, he gets the lifestyle, he gets the money, but it also ruins your life. Because you get one guy who works in he only does, he works on the set, he doesn't do any bonking, he works on the set, the electrical side of stuff, the mics, everything else, that's all he does. And he tries to get a bank loan, but because he's worked in pornography, it's like a criminal record. Say it again. It's like a criminal record, so they don't give him a loan because he's been in porn, even though he's not done the studio don't give it him because he's worked in porn. It's mad as it is, because he's worked in porn, they will not give him a loan. But long below, as the film goes on, somebody tries to rob a bank, somebody gets shot, and he manages to nab the money. The young lad does get into the music business, starts to leave porn not to feel alone, but he gets hooked on drugs and basically gets ripped off out of the music business. It's understandable, doesn't know anything about the music business, and in all fair said and done, he's not very good at singing. The girl is all roller skate girl, gets a bad reputation because she's kind of getting to college and better herself, but again, because she's been in porn, doesn't do her any favours. Rebecca Moore does get custody of her daughter, but doesn't, again, because she's been in porn, not affair. So it's sort of like a circle. Because they've been in porn, not affair, it's also decided it can also ruin lives. It's not the dream what people think it is. And I like the way it's also 70s, you know, the disco, the sort of the lifestyle of that era. And you get the idea that Dickless is a Bruce Lee fan. And like I say, it goes through to the 80s. The slutty woman, again, as I said, was played by a porn star. The guy gets pissed off because he keeps bonking everything inside. He shoots her and then he puts a gun to his mouth. I think it's either his head or in his mouth, one or the other, and blows his brains out, coming under the year of 1980. So then you get to the 80s, like I say, he's hooked on drugs, the lad, and the trying to rip these drug dealers off. Trying to rip them off, which is a big mistake. People get shot, the lad's mate gets shot, and he just gets out of dodge. But then he goes back to Burt Reynolds, he begs for forgiveness. Burt Reynolds puts his arm around him in a offensive sort of way. To the story short, there's another guy who's sort of like one of the producers. And remember that he gets put to prison, and it turns out he's been doing child pornography. Charming, eh? Fucking charming. So he's gone on about he likes kids and everything, and Burt Reynolds, out of disgust, walks away. Walks away. He's disgusted in what he's just done. So he does the right thing. He walks away, and I don't blame him at that point. So Rebecca Moore gets a kid back. The Wall Estate girl is doing pornography, but she's still going to college and bettering herself. And that's what I mean. That's why I like this, because it shows how pornography can destroy your life. It's not all the death of the dream. It's not just money. It's not the lifestyle. It also shows the seedy side of porn. But this was there when pornography had a story to it. It wasn't just ram bang fanky man like nowadays in porn. And like I say, it's just really I've got a story to it. I've forgotten how long Boogie Night was, but it definitely was. It's also 70s look, and it gets into the 80s, and then you get the surprise, what Dick Lass, where all the women love him. Ready for this, people? If you've never seen Boogie Night, word of warning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got a big dingaling. That in ear things, he's got a big dingaling. I leave that to your imagination. He pulls it out next to a mirror. It is fucking big. Makes me fucking jealous. And then it ends with him pulling his dingaling out. And basically, it's end of Boogie Night. It's end of Boogie Night. But like I say, it won awards. It was a popular film of 1997. And in all fairness, it's kind of sad that Burt Reynolds turned his back on it. I do the Gift of Darkness today, so put the light on. I just can't be asked putting the light on. I'll probably do it next time I do a review. But yeah, in all fairness, Burt Reynolds was not a lover of this film. He disowned this film. And I don't know why he disowned it. I didn't think that Boogie Night was a bad film. In all fairness, I did not shoot me in the head. I didn't think it was a bad film. Had a good story to it. There's a lot of nakedness. There's a lot of bonking in it. But again, it's not too much in your face. It's more of a story. And now this young lad, I get his name right better, this young lad's life gets ruined getting into pornography. It's also how the other people's lives gets ruined in pornography. But I like the story to it, you know what I mean? It's an interesting story. You've got the roller skates too, beautiful as anything. She's forever on roller skates. There's a bit where a lad who knows in his stool, she batters him. You can see how the career goes to shit, even for Burt Reynolds, when he starts doing his porn done on the cheap. And it's a good story to it. That's all I mean. It's art on the right sieve. It's not just wham, bang, thank you, man. And I never knew why Burt Reynolds didn't like the film. It was a good performance by him. It was definitely a different performance by him. He made like a seedy sort of director, but wanted to make movies, but really we all know was just fucking porn, not a fair. And it's an interesting look at what porn was like in a certain era. Not like I watched the stuff like, you know. But nevertheless, that's Boogie Night, and it's a Boogie 4 for me. Into then, I'm going to Boogie all night. See you, be smart, be safe. See you later.